Okay, I apologize. The battery on my recording device died, and in this video I'm going to finish up on extrinsic versus extrinsic rewards. And what I was saying in the parting thoughts of that last video was that it's primarily the truth that matters to me and motivates me. I think that one is going to be mostly and should be mostly motivated for whatever external means that they're going to achieve by way of intrinsic motivation. It is even with great and grand achievements out in the external world that the individuals were intrinsically driven towards something. Oftentimes it had a correlation with purpose, or what Simon Sinek calls a why, a reason for what they're doing, which is the same essentially as purpose. And Friedrich Nietzsche said, with purpose, a man can endure or do anything, but it is from the intrinsic and internal space that one goes out and does things or establishes things and earns things. That is just my thought, and something I think that is being lost or grossly misunderstood and misrepresented in American culture, and so greatly misunderstood and misrepresented by individuals. And you want to get things, you need to give things, and if you're going to give things, they come from yourself. And if you're going to get things, you get things for yourself. We share with others because we as people are social things, and we care about what others think because we as people are social things, but it's a component, not the whole story, and should never be the whole story. Neither should ever be the entire story, but parts and components of it. Homeostasis. And I also, and I guess an illustration in why and how the truth matters to me, and what I mean specifically by when I say the truth matters to me. I'm an atheist, and I know that I'm an atheist, and people, even other atheists at times, will ask me, why am I an atheist? And I will tell them that it is a rather complicated explanation and a complex argument, and if they truly want to know and they have time for it, I will gladly explain myself. Oftentimes they opt out of that, and then I turn the question in kind and ask them, well, why are you an atheist? And they will say things, and this is where I mean by way that the truth matters to me more than anything, and how this quote, that truth takes precedence over public relation, really comes out. Because even though they're under the same camp of belief as me, doesn't mean I'm on your team. I'm on the truth's team. I don't care what your belief structure is. I don't care what your rank is in society. I don't care what your title is. I don't care about a lot of things. I don't care about most of those things. I only care about the content of what you're saying and if it makes sense and what's true. I don't care if you're another INTP. I don't care what you are, who you are. I don't care. The only thing I care about is the truth. So they will say that, oh, Christians are unintelligent individuals, and for this reason, Christians are unintelligent individuals. Christians are unintelligent. They're conservative. They're sensitive, and I don't like how they act. They'll say things like that. So for those reasons, I'm not a Christian. And I'll ask them, what the hell does that have to do with the validity of God's existence. What does that have to do with that at all? What does anything, any item that you listed have to do with whether or not Scripture is true or not, or whether or not science is accurate in its description of the material world, and if its description of the material world should lead us in the way we think about our spiritual lives? What does anything you said there have to do with any of that? It's like nothing. And for me, I'm not a Christian, but I'll say this. The way I think about the truth, if the Bible is true, I wouldn't care if the entire Christian congregation across America had an IQ of 60. If the dang thing is true, it's true. And I don't care if I'm the only intelligent or sensible one in that camp, so long as I know what's true. That's what I, and a lot of times they get upset with me, or they get mad at me. What are you talking about? I'm an atheist. I don't care if you're an atheist. If you don't have a good reason for being an atheist, what does that matter? How are you any different from those Christians you don't care about, like, or you don't want to associate with or have concern with? It's like, there's plenty of unintelligent atheists. There's plenty of atheists. People are people, no matter what they believe. People are people. And you have an assortment in all camps of belief. That's just oftentimes just what the reason I'm stating this and illustrating this is that the intrinsic landscape is always going to exceed the external one. I work to make sure that my intrinsic landscape does not dominate the external one, and I use my intrinsic landscape as an excuse to act however I want, or to say whatever it is I want, and to honestly judge things in accordance with just my own subjective logic, and not really seeking to understand things and how they are, and giving them their proper thought and consideration. That's what I do with my intrinsic world. I am driven by it, but I police it and I maintain it because it's necessary for me to be a part of a community and society to do so. Now, what most people don't do is they do not police the influence that the external world has on them. And that's the fault I see in one of the faults. It's not to say, I'm not perfect, so I have plenty of faults. So me pulling faults in American society is not me saying I don't have faults in myself. I have faults in myself, but one of the faults in society that absolutely gets on my nerves is the overabundance of the externality in motivation, and the domination of objective as in outward, and external motivational factors and rewards on the individual, and the detriment that that is having to society by way of crippling people's ability to find meaning and fulfillment, and making thinkers deaf, lazy, lethargic, and arrested in their thoughts and their development. So those are my thoughts. It was a fairly rantful and passionate video. I apologize for that, and I apologize for the expletive, but this is one of those things where I knew how I felt about this when I had this. I knew how I felt about this one when I had this conversation. Doesn't mean I'm not using logic, but so that's my video, and thank you for watching.